Okay, this is David Kelly G again. If I haven't already said it, I do swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God in this testimony, and any court of law. So as I was saying, I was getting confused about a blue text. I don't know if I probably don't need my pen right now. This happened about 10 o'clock. I'm just going to call my brother Junior. And here's me. I thought I sent a blue text to my brother, but the fact that it was blue means that I sent it because all my texts go out in blue, which is what I was showing if you didn't pick up earlier in my text. Like this text to my aunt went out in blue. All these went out in blue. These are just my copies. I do have the phone, but it's easier just to print it out. So all these are all blue texts, leading me up to one text that I sent to a phone my brother doesn't even have. But it did scare me. And that's like I showed you how I sent my aunt a text to call the hospital. And I made a bunch of calls to someone I know after that blue text. So what time is it there? It's right around 10 o'clock, like I said. So there's my aunt. There's me telling her to call social services. But I didn't call them myself. My next door neighbor called the police, which brings me to the next part of my complaint. Now, on that Monday night, as I'm having this weird out-of-body experience, I got a phone call from 428-6666 at 10:07 p.m. Now, the police are calling me, and as far as I know, my aunt did not call them, and I didn't answer. And then at 10:18, they called me. Again, I'm not sure why, and I didn't answer. But as you'll see, the 1-800 number, that's going to be my burglar alarms. Now, my burglar alarms started going off at 10:22, which I did, 10:31 I did, and 10:46. I remember all three of them. The 10:46 one is when I let the police give me like an initial check, and then I allowed them to take me to the hospital. So as you'll see, I missed the calls from my security, ADT, after the police had tried to reach me. There's an even bigger breakdown of them. Now, when the police arrived, I went outside holding my guitar, and I was distinct with the police that they could not arrest me for being outside in my house. They convinced me to walk over to their car because I was, they said I was drunk, and on K2. And I told them I didn't know what K2 was, and I wasn't drunk. That's the only alcohol I had in the house. And before the out-of-body experience, it was about there. When I came home from the hospital Wednesday, I was down to there. So a beer, maybe 2 beers. So I wasn't drunk. And K2, I believe, is marijuana. And I don't think the marijuana was laced at all. So the police escort me into their car and ask me for my name. I tell them my name. But I do agree to let them, or I do agree to go into no, I believe they called the ambulance for me. And when I got in the ambulance, I told the ambulance drivers, they were like, calm down. And I needed to take a shot of Ativan. And I told the ambulance drivers I was calm and I didn't want a shot of Ativan. And then I, again, out of body experience, I started chanting like, I don't know, it's very weird and it scared me. Like the blue text scared me. So I told them, yes, please, give me a shot of Ativan. So Tuesday, I get to the hospital about midnight, right in that time frame. And while I'm in there, I waited until 4 a.m. and I wanted to go home and look at my phone. Now, So what happened next, to make the story even more complicated, the hospital told me I was on K2 and drunk, or on magic mushrooms, which the police had told them. And I told them, I don't even know what K2 is, and I had to argue with the millennial, uneducated young person about what K2 was. And she finally managed to explain it to me enough where I said, weed? You're telling me I smoked weed? Because I did take, I believe, one or two hits before my out of body experience. So I get to the hospital. The cops told the staff, oh, whatever, I'm K2, I'm on mescaline, shrooms, and I'm drunk. So the nurse will not let me leave. She tells me I need to take a urinalysis. So I agree. She comes back in and tells me, well, I've tested positive for mescaline. I said, mescaline, how could I test? I don't even, I've never taken mescaline and I don't know where to get it. But she tells me that's what I'm on. So I wait another couple hours. And I want to go home and get my phone. And at this point, at 4 o'clock in the morning, I really didn't care if she said I tested positive for mescaline and if maybe the 2, 3 puffs I took of marijuana were laced. I wanted to go home and look at my phone. They wouldn't let me. There was 2 security guards. And actually, I do think they are the same. That's the guys were. Hang on, I need to give a backstory for this as well. So I'm just going to pause so I can regroup myself and try and explain this very complicated story after I get a drink of water. Okay, this is Dave Goodbillet. Just got a drink of water, and hopefully my audio tape is still recording in the background. Good. That'll make this easier. Now, every time I've tried to explain this, it's very complicated, and it's very frustrating. So, after they, well, I wanted to leave at 4 o'clock in the morning, and they said I couldn't leave because I was on mescaline or I was drunk. And I told them, I don't care if you think I'm on mescaline or drunk. I'm very familiar with Daniel Prude, who was on PCP and released almost immediately in the Rochester area. I want to go home and look at this weird blue text I sent to my brother. And I don't care if you tell me I'm on K2 pot or drunk. Even the police can't arrest me just for being drunk, unless I'm visibly drunk and being aggressive. Um, again, I want to go over my paperwork as far as what they gave me back. They said I was drunk, but I have no idea what the blood alcohol content was. And again, there's no mescaline or anything like that in my system. And this is going to bring me towards the end of my complaint, where I was diagnosed by Rukia Mooch, or Much, I'm not sure, she's European, as having a psychoactive substance-induced psychosis, COVID, which one nurse came in Tuesday morning and said I didn't have, and then when I was going to leave, they came back in and told me I had COVID and right foot pain, which is particularly ironic because their security guards severely injured my right foot, and it may be injured for the rest of my life. That's another reason I want to sue them. So I'm just going to set that aside for right now in case I need it. Because it probably does come back into this whole story at another point. So yeah, the security guards wouldn't let me leave. They said, well, if I could outrun them, I could get away. I could go home, but I couldn't outrun them. Now I see I need a cigarette. But I have one right over here. That's the other thing that gets frustrating. It's telling this story. So security guards basically told me, they were going to drag me. Well, I told them, if you're not going to let me leave peacefully, and you're not going to let me run away because you're faster than I am, what are you going to do if I punch you in the face? Well, ha. They didn't really have an answer, but they were going to call the cops. And I said, look, you guys are going to have to drag me in your mental health unit or I'm going home. And that's what they started to do. Now, on the way, the two security guards, I call A and B, the one gentleman's older, 40, maybe he's baby faced. And I told him he has kind eyes, but I didn't mean it in a gay way. Well, they're taking me back to the mental health place. And the other guy's younger, and he has a tattooed sleeve all the way down his left arm. And he's got like lightning bolts and stuff like that. And I said to him, because I'm listening to a lot of heavy metal growing up, I said, what do you worship, Satan? And maybe he got mad at me. And maybe the babyface guy got mad at me because I said he had kind eyes. I'm not sure. But they're going to come into the story later. Well, actually, they're going to come into the story in about a minute. They get me into the mental health hospital, whatever. And I try and talk to this male nurse. And he told me I needed to go to my room and calm down before I could talk to him. And I'm pissed at this point. They wouldn't let me leave. So they dragged me in. And now the guy's telling me to go to my room. So I came out I stood in there for maybe a minute. I'm like, I'm calm. And he said, no, you're not calm. I have to give you a shot of Ativan. And I said, I don't want a shot of Ativan. I already had one in the ambulance 4 hours ago. And all I want to do is talk. And then this guy says to me, well, before I can even force you to take Ativan, I have to metal detect you. And I looked at this guy, because I'm drunk, supposedly, and delusional, and on mescaline, and I'm bare-ass naked, and he wants to metal detect me. So I asked this guy, do I have a shotgun up my ass? I probably said a little bit more forcefully than that. And that probably pissed him down. So he got the two security guards to hold my hands over my head so I couldn't stop him. And that guy shot me up with Ativan for the second time in a 4-hour time period. Now, see, this one is at 12 minutes, so I'm just going to write shot here, stop this, put it up as my second sworn testimony, and pick it up again while it uploads onto my YouTube channel that I've created to help me work through all of the memories of this experience, using my educational background, kind of like my creative flair, other aspects of my personality. So I'm going to pause this, or I'm actually going to stop it, upload it, and then I will come back and start the third part of my sworn testimony deposition complaint.